Yo, what's good? We have a lot to talk about today. Okay, so first thing is I made a Discord. Now, before you go rolling your eyes and you say, "Oh, I'm already in 1,000 fashion Discords. Why would I want to join another one?" Let me put you on. All right, let me put you on and explain why, because you're gonna want to join this one. The main reason why I wanted to make this Discord is to make content with it. So every like once in a while, what my friends and I will do is we will host some sort of event that you guys can join in on. So whether this be like a contest, like a outfit challenge where we make a bracket and people can like submit fit pics and we'll either like, live judge it, or we'll do it through like a text channel and we can like pair people up against each other until there's like a winner. Another thing that we'll do is like fashion show watch together. So like whenever there's like a new runway show, like this upcoming Balenciaga show, for example, or just other big named houses, we can, ping the Discord, and whoever's able to join in, we can basically just sit there and do like a live call with everyone and kind of just take in the show together, give our thoughts, kind of debate certain things and topics, which I think would also be super fun. Another contest idea I have would be like doing like some sort of sketch off, so people can submit like their fashion sketches or artwork, and we can do some sort of, again, tournament styled competition for that. Or we could do something like a fashion trivia contest. There's really like no limit on what we could do with this Discord server, which is why it's like such a cool idea to me, and why I decided to just finally make one and put everything into place. And not every event that we do is going to be like this, content farming thing where I'm going to upload it to YouTube or whatever. Like sometimes we just hop in a voice call and hang out and just talk about random stuff. So also, if you guys are trying to dodge those crazy Grailed fees and you are trying to offload some things, or you're trying to buy certain pieces, we do have a marketplace in the server. And you won't have access to the marketplace like right after joining, just because certain things in the Discord are locked behind being a higher level community member. And the way you earn this is just by literally being in the Discord, talking, not being a dickhead, etc. And the biggest reason for this is just so that it combats trolls, because this will be a public Discord server once I launch this. Obviously, if you joined the server when I promoted it on my Instagram a weekend ago, you have access to everything. This is for mainly the newer people that are coming in. Just know that you won't have access and won't be able to see every single thing in the Discord server right away. You just need to be in the server for a little bit and send some messages so that you can basically be vetted into like a more permanent role. But I think the marketplace is going to be really sick for people that not only sellers to like avoid that AIDS Grail fee, but for also buyers who are into more like niche brands like Vuja and Kamaware, to basically like avoid getting scammed, because it's actually crazy how many reps are on the market of these brands. And I feel like in a Discord server like this, it's going to be really easy to basically know if someone's bullshitting a post or not. Obviously, please don't do that, by the way. You will get super banned if you put like a fake or a rep or whatever in a posting. Please do not try. It's just not worth it, okay? But yeah, aside from like special events and like the marketplace, we of course have like the more traditional channels like, fit picks and pickups channels. And we'll have like size guide channels, so that, certain things in like Vuja Day or brands that are harder to know sizing information for, you'll have a direct channel, so you won't have to message me anymore. You won't have to message me anymore about sizing questions, and you'll get all the information that you need for, maybe like Guidi or just things that are more niche and harder to find information for, or you won't have to like search multiple subreddits. You can just kind of go to one spot. That's at least my idea as we grow. Obviously, we only have about like 100 people in the Discord server right now before posting this video, which I still think is a ton of people for just posting on my story. But as we grow and as the channel grows and this grows with it, my hope is to have like, just a big wealth of like super knowledgeable people about like all kinds of crazy niche or mainstream brands in this Discord. And then like the events that we can make for content is just kind of like that cherry on top, right? So yeah, as this video is coming out, the Discord is now live. Congratulations. Go join. Click the link in the description. It's going to be under this video. I'll put it in all my videos from going forward. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make it so that anyone can share it or not, but at least my friends who are also in the Discord, who also make content, they can share it, and they'll probably post it on their channels as well. Please read the rules. Please don't be a dickhead. Don't ruin it, okay? Like, this is supposed to be like a fun, interactive experience, okay? This is not going to be one of those drama Discord servers where people are just spewing bullshit all day, all right? All right. All right, and now that the hashtag ad portion for this video is over, let us get into the main topic for this video, or should I say topics? Okay, so starting off with a question that I get asked a ton is, would you make your own fashion line? And if I were to make my own fashion line, where would I get my inspiration from? So for me personally, I have like zero interest in making a clothing brand. I know that is like the logical next step for like the method of becoming rich and famous right now for some reason. You kind of like garner your audience on YouTube and then you kind of translate that into a clothing brand. That is not shade, by the way. That is like just a smart business plan that I see a lot of people doing. But because of how I got into the hobby of clothing and why I buy from certain brands and just like what makes me passionate about owning clothing and doing more research about clothing, just does not line up with me becoming like a Clo 3D designer. Again, no shade to anyone out there who does it. Obviously, I follow brands who do that. I'm friends with people who do that, and I think it's really cool. I just personally do not resonate with that, and I probably will never be into that. Now, making like a brand in general, I could see myself maybe doing something like that, like in the very, very far future as like a passion project. It wouldn't be like clothing though, because that's really what I just kind of yapped about. That's what I'm not into doing. Clothing for me is like really special, and it's more of a thing in my head. This now a lot of people might disagree with this, okay, but this is just how I feel about it. I think making clothing fashion as an art form type of clothing is really reserved for very few individuals, talented individuals, passionate individuals who have a true unique vision that adds something to the world that wasn't there or would not be there otherwise without them. That is why I don't want to make a clothing brand. One thing that does actually interest me in making one day, or having a brand that sells this thing, would be like leather goods. Now, not like footwear or wallets type of thing, but more like belts and keychains or bag charms, stuff like that, or like you see here, like some sort of like leather neckwear, because that is something that I'm really interested in accessorizing myself with, and I feel there is a really big gap in the market of brands whose their only focus is to make that kind of product. So I feel like if I were to start something like that in the future, it wouldn't be so oversaturated. It wouldn't be super hard to compete. And it also wouldn't feel like I'm creating something that already exists that you could buy somewhere else, because I hate when people just make something that already exists, especially if it's done in like a worse way or even an equal way. It's like, why did you make that? Like, there's no point in making that. So I feel that, yes, there are a lot of brands who obviously make small leather goods. That is literally how most LVMH, Caring, and Puig brands survive, but I'm talking in an affordable way and in a more like, I don't know, I don't want to, oh, this is super cringe, but like in a fashion chic way that isn't so mainstream, doing small drops with more unique things. I don't know what I'm saying. Think of things like more non-traditional, like key rings, like I said, bag charms, or like non-traditional, like neckwear, stuff more like along those lines. I feel like that would be something that I would actually be interested in making. But again, in the way future and as like a passion project, if I ever were to do any type of like brand thing. Okay, so next question is, what is your biggest driving factor for making videos and continuously trying to innovate the videos that you make? So I don't know if I have a driving factor to make videos. Like, it's just a passion. Like, I'm just sitting here talking about nothing. Like that's like in itself it. Like, there is no end goal. There's no like number of subscribers. There's no like brand deal. There's nothing like that. I've already obtained what I wanted with this channel, which was to make fashion friends. Like, that's literally it. I think if you go back to my very first pickups video, that is literally what I said I wanted the most out of this, because I wasn't even sure I was gonna make a second video after that first one. I just wanted to share a really sick jacket that no one else in my entire world cared about. So I needed to go find people who would care about it and geek and goon over it with them. So that is pretty much, if that is like a motivating factor, that's it. It's just to, talk about stuff I'm passionate about. And I feel the easiest way to talk about something I'm passionate about is to do it on YouTube, because like most people that you come across in the real world do not care this much about clothes, the fashion industry, personal style, whatever. And if they do, it's in such a different way than you probably do. And what I mean by that is like the stereotypical like 18 to 25-year-old right now who's into style. They don't really care about Dries and Margiela and the Antwerp Six and LVMH and Kering. And if you said any of that to them, they would not understand what you're saying. So like and that's a totally fine.
I'm staying in New York for the week, so I went to Zara and got some new stuff. I don't think the person that did my color analysis would agree with this color for me. I bought these boots without trying them on because I loved the color. I really don't think I need two brown faux leather jackets. You guys have to be so honest with me, especially with these. Literally looks like there's rain droplets on these jeans. And this was a matching set.
I'm just saying I am not looking to be friends with those people because like why would we would have nothing to talk about. So that is like again why I make these YouTube videos. I don't really need a motivating factor or a drive to do it. I just do it because like it's a hobby. Like it's just like why do you play your favorite video game or like why do you go play like pick up basketball on the weekends? It's like this is like my thing. And then like the second part of that question was like, you know, how like what drives you to keep improving your videos? I think that's just normal, is it not? Like it's just natural for most people to always want to improve at something, especially if it's something that they're passionate about. I don't know. I don't again like have like this crazy end game goal. I just like growth. Like I like growth in anything that I do. Anything that I'm passionate about, I always want to be better than I was the day before. So I know that sounded super corny and super cliche, but that is really not that deep for me. Like that's just why I do it. So, but yeah. Yeah, that did absolutely nothing, but it's getting really dark. So hopefully I can do something about the lighting and the editing of this video. Okay, next question is your sense of style is ever so evolving. Kind of chat GPT scripted question is that, bro? Just joking. Shout out my boy Jan. Your sense of style is ever so evolving. Do you think that one day you'll dress extremely different to the way you do now? What brands do you think you'll be interested in the future? Okay, so I think I dress very differently even 6 months apart. I could not imagine like 6 years from now. So yeah, I don't really know how to answer this question. Um, Without overthinking it, I guess too much. Yes, I do think in, you know, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, maybe like when I'm in my 30s especially, I do have like this vision for myself. Like when I'm really in unk status, like we're getting there, but like when I'm really in unk status, I feel like that unlocks like all of these items that I can't wear right now. Like, you know, big broad shoulders, a trench coat, some crazy like loafer game briefcases. Like there is definitely a category of fashion that I'm looking forward to being into when I'm older that right now just doesn't really resonate with me too much just because I don't want to look older than I really am. I don't want to come across like, you know, super put together or what or whatever that's supposed to mean. But yeah, without overcomplicating the question because I feel like it wasn't meant to be super deep in the first place. Yeah, I do see myself dressing really different in my 30s and like 40s. I wouldn't say super different and like again, I hate this word but like aesthetic. I don't see myself going drastically into like punk or like some crazy, you know, different type of like Eddie Slimane or different genre of clothing, but there's definitely pieces of clothing that I wouldn't wear now because I just feel looks too mature to wear now for myself personally. Like I don't know, like a trench coat or like tweed jackets. Um, Experimenting more with neckties. Like I'm wearing this because I feel like it's something that I like with my current look. But you know, a lot of neckties and stuff like that or bow ties, I feel is something that I'm into, but I'm not really gonna want to wear until I'm a bit older. So yes and no. Yes, I will be dressing probably different. Um, you know, a few years from now. If you even go back a few months or even just a year ago to my first pickups video, guys, look how differently I dress today than I did then. So it'd be pretty ignorant for me to say that, oh no, I'm gonna have the same style or a very similar style, you know, 10 or 20 years from now. But I think that's the fun of it. I think it's super fun, super cool. Sometimes it's really cringe and it hurts your heart a bit when you go and look at old like fit pics or whatever you were into at that time, but it's cool because it shows you like your growth and like your fashion trajectory and what arc you are in your current life, which I think everyone kind of participates in and has that kind of secondhand embarrassment experience when they go through old pictures like that. So, and then to answer the second part of that question, what brands will I be into the future? I don't think there's like certain brands that I will be into just because I'm older. Maybe there's brands that I'll be into when I'm older because I'll have hopefully adult money by then. So then there's like these brands that exist that I love that I can't buy now. Actually, yeah, let's go over that because I feel like that's a much better way of like answering that part of the question. So brands that first come to mind that I can't own now, but hopefully when I'm done with school and have like a good job, I can participate in would be brands like Xenia, mainline Margiela, even smaller brands like Evan Kenori to a certain extent. Like I know you can hunt deals for Evan Kenori on Grailed and stuff, but a lot of the pieces that I have liked from Evan Kenori in the past, it's really hard to find secondhand. So it'd just be nice to have like such an adult bag that I can just walk into a store and just buy whatever I want off the rack and don't have to like hunt for it for hours and hours and hours secondhand and then just to get it in person. And I should just fits like a medium and you have to like, flip it back on the market. So maybe, oh, you know what a good one would be? This is like my all time, like, you know how you would have like that conversation with like sports cars? Like, what's your favorite dream car that you'll never be able to afford? My favorite luxury brand, like big house. Okay, I don't want to say favorite because then people are gonna be like, oh my god, you're switching up again. Like, what the heck? But the best, like one of the brands that comes to mind when I think of adult money and being able to dress like what how I really want to look without any restrictions would be Hermes. I think Hermes is so fire. I think it's one of the best brands, if not the best brand, at mixing elevated luxury with like playfulness. And I think that's something that's super unique. So Hermes is definitely up there, and probably just the brands I'm into now, like Dries, maybe a little bit of the Row, Bottega. I would probably, yeah, actually, all right. So just bringing this back, I know I just yapped like crazy in a circle, but like, what brands would I be into when I'm older if I have the adult bag and I have a lot of money? Hermes, Dries, Bottega. Maybe a little mainline Margiela in there, a little Evan Kenori mixed in. Obviously, I'll still probably be into like Orly and whatever. But if I can afford those three at like a rate where I can fill my closet with it, like Hermes, Dries, and Bottega, we're big chillin', okay? Like we're gonna be dripped out of our minds, okay? But great question. Next question. Favorite type of bread? Next question. First Vujaday item you purchased and how long it took you to save money? No, I'm just playing. My favorite type of bread is an interesting one. Oof. Nothing really beats a really good croissant, but the problem with a croissant is that you literally need to be in France to have like a real one. So I don't know if that can be my favorite bread just because I myself can't enjoy that like ever. So I guess if we're talking about like a bread that I have access to, like on any given day, would definitely be a sesame seed bagel. Those are super gas. I would fuck up a sesame seed bagel every day if I could. But yeah, going back to the next question. First Vujaday item you purchased and how long it took you to save money. So I'm gonna give you a second. Can you guess what my first Vujaday item was? Maybe comment it or think of it in your head. What do you think my first Vujaday item was? Because I actually don't think a lot of people who watch my channel actually knows what my first item I've ever purchased from Vujaday was. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, did you guess? If you guessed the kimono dyed flare cargos, you'd be a damn liar, first of all, but you'd also be correct. Because I know most of y'all don't know that. But yeah, first item that I ever bought from Vujaday was the kimono dyed flared cargos from Drop 7. And it was like my first huge, like insanely expensive fashion purchase. I think before buying those, I was very much in my Our Legacy arc, and I owned the flannel shirt. I owned like a third cut jean. I owned the camion boots. I think I owned the Western belt. I owned an Acne Studios Francesca hoodie, which I still have. It's really old. It's like a blank. It's not the new ones that they do now. It's out of like a different material. All right, chill out, bro. Bro's trying to flex his vintage archive Acne Studios, but like it really is a different version of what people think of the Francesca now, and it's really good. It's probably like one of the last good quality items that Acne made before they went to shit and have like all these issues with quality control. But that is a topic for a different video. But anyways, that's kind of like what my closet was at the time, and I don't know, something had me with these cargos. It was really hard for me to decide if I wanted to buy the cargos or if I wanted to buy the flannel shirt that they made in that drop too. Looking back on it, obviously I probably made the wrong choice because I got rid of those cargos pretty quick. I should have probably got the flannel, but I was able to end up selling those cargos for a good amount of money, which funded way more clothes than I would have had with just the one shirt or the one pants. So, you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't really like a lose. It was more like a win situation. But yeah, that was my first item with Vuja Day. There was some issues with those cargos. The main one just being they were just super hard for me to style and wear, and it was like a huge gamble buying them in the first place. But that was when I was first kind of getting into more, I don't want to say avant-garde fashion, but more interesting or unique pieces. And I was watching a ton of Japanese runways at the time, and I couldn't really separate the fashion enjoyer in me that enjoyed fashion as an art form and the fashion enjoyer in me that wanted to have like a cool, unique personal style. They would cross over a lot, and I found really fast that they don't always line up. What you're interested in you know, as an art form, or what runways that you like, what haute couture houses that you like a lot, what you get inspired by a lot, isn't always what works well for you on an everyday basis. And that was a big wake up call buying those. I've had a couple of those wake up calls after that, but that was like the first one that I can remember. So, but yeah, first item from Vuja was the kimono dyed cargo flares. Next question: where do I get my fashion inspo? Most of my fashion inspo comes from probably runways. I would say for the most part, I really love watching runway shows as just like a hobby. The more artistic ones, the ready to wear collections, etc. I kind of can get inspo from any of it, even like haute couture fashion runways. Just I love looking at a bunch of different universes that designers build and then taking what I like from each one and trying to mesh it together in my head that works for me and my style. So that is probably the biggest single source of inspiration that I have, is from runways. Obviously, I can be influenced or inspired by people on Instagram and, you know, on YouTube and, you know, just in everyday life. But when I got into fashion, I did not have any social media. So the way I got into fashion is probably very different than a lot of my peers or you watching this video. I did not, you know, go through TikTok fashion or Instagram Reels fashion. I never had that phase. If there was ever a time where I was influenced by people, like other people who were, I guess, influencers or content creators, it was definitely the YouTube people, but the people that had like the bigger presence on YouTube, like the Daniel Simmons and the Kenajimas of the world. When I was very first getting into fashion, that's pretty much the only experience or interaction I had with other people's personal style who weren't like celebrities or creative directors or, you know, very famous people of interest. Okay, next question. Lots of creative director changes right now. Who are you most excited to see get a fresh start? Ooh, that's a good one. That might be my favorite question so far. Okay. So, ooh, that's a good one. Fresh start. Okay, so it isn't confirmed yet, but there's heavy links for Daniel Lee to go to Jill Sanda, and I think that would be the best like fresh start because his time at Burberry has been absolutely atrocious, like super dreadful, especially because he was coming from such a high at Bottega Veneta and like basically changing like the landscape. Obviously, he didn't invent the aesthetic of Bottega. He kind of inherited a really favorable time period of BV from Thomas Meyer. So it's not like he invented the aesthetic that we know of Bottega Veneta now, but he was a really good like contributor to why Bottega is the way it is today. Like with the lug boots and just everything else that he made while he was there. So for him to like have that success and like be in the public eye and have so many um trendy pieces that was making it into mainstream media to go to somewhere like Burberry. Bro, I feel for him. Like obviously he's probably making a lot more money at Burberry than he was at Bottega, but from like an artistic standpoint, dude, his Bottega or his Burberry rather has been atrocious. So that is the person who I am most excited to get like a clean slate or like a fresh start if that actually happens. I really hope it does because I feel like his design codes would work really, really well at Jill Sanda. And I'm kind of just really ready to see a different version of Jill Sanda than the Luke and Lucy Meyer iteration of Jill Sanda. So not to like throw shade or hate at Luke and Lucy. I feel like they've made like a lot of good collections, but the more recent years of Jill Sanda, I just have been like it's been like a nothing sandwich. It's been like whatever. I am not really excited to see anything from Jill Sanda of late. Other creative directors that I'm just excited to see start at their new house that isn't necessarily like a clean slate, but more of, I guess you could call it like an upgrade or promotion, would firstly definitely be Luis Trotter at Bottega. I was really, really sad to see Mathieu Blazy go to Chanel. I totally get it though. Like, if you get offered the Chanel job, you're taking the Chanel job. It doesn't matter how successful his Bottega was. He's gonna go take Chanel. It's like one of the biggest jobs, if not the biggest job in fashion. Maybe you can argue that LV is bigger, but yeah, you're gonna take the Chanel job. I'm sad because I'm not a Chanel customer. I'm never probably ever gonna be a Chanel customer. I'll never be able to afford the crazy things that he's probably gonna do at Chanel with like tweed or making things look like leather with tweed or vice versa with that whole crazy fabric manipulation that Matthew Blazy is really known for. But if it could be anyone, I'm actually really excited that Luis Trotter is taking over Bottega. I also think it's gonna be really interesting to see how Luis like transforms Bottega, because if you guys aren't familiar with Luis Trotter, she is the, I guess now, ex creative director for Carvin. And if you look through her shows, she's like a very light-handed designer, meaning a lot of her clothes look very airy and very flowy and very shapeless and very formless. And Bottega, historically, not just from Matthew Blazy, but from the previous creative directors, Bottega is like a very rugged, a very substantial, a very what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there's like a lot of structure in Bottega's clothing and silhouettes. Mathieu Blazy used a lot of hard, substantial materials like leathers and garbadines with like really structured silhouettes. I don't really know if that was a great explanation of what I'm trying to say, but I'll like obviously I have some like on-screen pictures, so it kind of paints a better picture of exactly what I mean by this. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what she does at Bottega because I love Bottega. I think it's such a fun, creative brand, kind of like an Hermes where they do a really good job of mixing playfulness with luxury, which a lot of times luxury can get really like serious and boring. And another designer that I'm actually really excited to see work at their new house, which I actually would go as far to say that I think is the most perfect new creative director fit for a new house, would be Glenn Martins at Margiela. I think he is such a great fit at Margiela because he doesn't design exactly how Martin like designed. Obviously, like no one's going to be an exact clone of like Martin Margiela, but John Galliano's Margiela was very different from like Martin Margiela's Margiela. It was obviously amazing. I love John Galliano's Margiela, but it wasn't really like in essence true Margiela, you know? So I feel like Glenn Martins will be such a great fit at Margiela because I feel his work, yes, it's not the same as Martin's work, but see, that's the thing is like I'm very interested to see what he does at the house because like Jean Galliano, there's like that famous interview with him that he basically got Martin's blessing to basically do whatever he wanted with the house, and it was his interpretation of Margiela. But with someone like Glenn Martins, I wonder if he's going to be more like conservative with his designs and do stuff that is more reminiscent of like true original Martin Margiela. What's the craziest amount of lust you felt for a piece of clothing? I'm guessing they asked this question because I made that joke in the Discord about lusting for this recent Dries jacket I bought. The craziest amount of lust that I felt for clothing, it has to have been my first Dries jacket that I bought because nothing like since then, nothing before that jacket or since that jacket has ever made me impulse buy something at like a crazy price, like knowing damn well I could have waited to get it on sale later, but I just didn't want to. I wanted to just crash out on something. Nothing has made me feel that way, and nothing has made me buy something in that quick of a turnaround. Like I went to the Dries store on a Friday, okay, saw it for the first time tried it on, and then the next day I bought it. All right. And then by like Tuesday, it was in my house, which was crazy. Definitely don't recommend doing that, but that had to have been the craziest like lust I've ever felt for a single piece of clothing, which is like a crazy way to word that, but that was funny. What sparked your interest in fashion, and what were you into before fashion? So I feel like I had like the stereotypical like male sentient experience where like I just woke up one day and was like, damn bro, I can change what I look like. That's crazy. And I kind of just did. So it really started with fragrance. I got into like the that crazy niche like category of YouTube where people kind of just reviewed fragrances all day, and I really got into that. Like I loved watching people explain fragrances, specifically Aaron Terrence Hughes. Shout out Aaron Terrence Hughes. He like basically fueled my passion for fragrance, which then in turn kind of went down the whole rabbit hole of men's grooming and appearance and all that. So that kind of like got me into fashion. But the way he would like explain fragrances, because if you guys don't know who Aaron Terrence Hughes is, he's kind of like a fragrance influencer, but he's not like the stereotypical influencer who has like brand deals with these crazy conglomerates to like push a fragrance onto you and like come up with all these crazy reasons as to why you should buy a fragrance. Like it will get you laid, or it will get you like a dream job, like in an interview. Like I've heard the craziest shit spewed out of these like these influencers' mouths on YouTube, which is like it's just absolutely blows my mind that they have an audience. But um basically the way he like describes the chemistry of making a fragrance and like this huge like picture he paints got me really into wanting to sample fragrances, not necessarily own them. So while he would explain a fragrance, I would have like the tester, the sampler of it, and I would spray it on myself or on a card, and I would like go along, kind of like go along with him as he's explaining it. And that was just like a hobby of mine. Saying that out loud sounds really crazy. Like I don't know if that's a normal thing that other people that are into fragrance do, or like people who are into like other like bougie. I don't know if you could call fragrance. Now, fragrance is definitely bougie. Like if you're into other bougie hobbies, I guess like wine tasting or something, is that like a common experience of people who are into these other types of hobbies? Let me know, because saying that out loud just made me feel really subconscious about myself. But that's what I would do. It was like a really cool passion of mine. I would talk to my friends about it. My friends got into fragrance off of that, and then we would kind of just exchange fragrances that we were into as well, and like share our collections with each other. So was heavily into fragrance. I still wear fragrance now. I'm just really not interested in fragrance anymore. I kind of just found a scent that I like to wear every day, and it kind of just works for me. I don't wear like 90% of my fragrances anymore, which kind of sucks because I spent a lot of money on that stuff and I'm just never going to use it again. But pretty much all of my time in like the grooming, physical appearance aspect of the world really goes into fashion. Um, Not really interested in anything else at the moment. When you get into fragrance at such like a niche level, it's really just kind of natural for you to kind of go into style. I feel, I don't know, maybe it isn't and I'm just kind of like projecting, but for me it just seemed like it kind of just all happened around the same time with like the music that I was listening to, the fragrances that I was wearing, and then like the clothing was just like that third aspect that was kind of just there, that kind of just made sense. And then the reason I participate in fashion the way I do, with really wanting to learn about the creative director, the designer of the clothes specifically, and following their line of work rather than following like a brand, for example, is because that's how I enjoyed fragrances. I really loved learning about a perfumer, and a lot of times perfumers make things for different houses and don't have their own eponymous label. So that's kind of like why I follow fashion designers in the same way that I follow fragrance. What are they called? Perfumers, not fragrance makers, perfumers. So yeah, that is how I got into both of those things. Next question. What is my favorite outfit that I have ever made? Hmm, that is hard, actually. That's a good one. Shout out Gael, by the way. You're my boy. I know you're mad that I called you that right now, but sucks to suck. Best fit. All right. What I'm doing right now is I save all my outfits to like a album on my phone so I can see like what I've been wearing over the past like months or weeks. Single best outfit might be hard, but what I'll do is I'll throw up some of my current favorites at the moment. And what I'll do is I'll screenshot them so I know which ones I'm talking about when I'm editing this. So that's definitely one of my favorites. This one definitely, this actually might be my favorite outfit, but definitely top three, not three, if you know what I mean. The outfit that I wore today was actually pretty fire. I'm like kind of wearing it right now, but when I went out earlier today, I put on this like kind of John Galliano inspired fit because I saw there's this interview that he does with his two muses, talking to like college students that he posted a while ago, and I have been obsessed with that outfit that he wore in that video for such a long time, and I kind of like threw one together today, so that would probably be my last outfit that I'll share for favorite outfits. Next question is, what is my favorite piece from Vujade? I don't know if they mean like what's my favorite piece that I own from Vujade or what's my favorite piece that they've ever made from that's from Vujade. So I guess I'll just answer both. I think the my favorite piece that Vujade has made is probably the Adonis. I want to say it's really close to the Enzo though. It's either the Adonis or the Enzo, and obviously I own the Enzo, so the Enzo is my favorite Vujade piece that I currently own. But yeah, probably the Adonis or the Enzo because they're just really fire, and I think they both like encapsulate Ken and his whole like style vision and Vujade's as a brand as a whole very well. And I feel like both of them offer something in that category of silhouette, of item that you really can't get anywhere else. Okay, next question is, how do you decide whether to keep, sell, or trade a piece? Personally, I find it quite challenging and usually regret selling things, even though I may sell it to get something that I want a lot. I don't think it's hard for me to sell items because I don't really sell items to get other items, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's exactly what you mean, but I don't get an item and then I'm like, oh, like okay, I like it, but if I sell it, I can get this item. Like I feel like that defeats the whole purpose of buying the item in the first place. I think what it normally comes down to for me is fit. Most of the clothes that I sell is because they just do not fit me well. The next is stylistically. Again, like I've said a lot of times at this point, I am very new into fashion. I've only been into fashion for like 2.5 years at this point. So it's really natural, I feel, at this stage in my fashion journey that I'm going to, of course, outgrow things stylistically. So I'd probably say that makes up the last bit of why I would sell something. Ooh. All right. That was a ton of yapping. Thank you so much for everyone who sent a question in. I'm really sorry if I did not get to yours. I just do not have a ton of time to record anymore with work and school and just everything that's going on in my life right now. So if I did not answer your question, I'm really sorry. I will probably do more of these like sit down talk kind of videos, more kind of Q&A kind of format. So don't worry, if you ask me something, I will keep it in like an archive and I'll just cycle those to the top of the list when I do eventually make another one of these videos. But yeah, I need to stop this here so that I have enough time to edit this, and publish it before my channel anniversary, which is in a couple of days, and also launch the Discord because right now it's on private. It's only those 100 people that joined when I put this on my story. So I want to launch the Discord this weekend because it's a 4-day weekend for me, and it's like the best time and the only time I'm really gonna have to have this much time to kind of focus on editing and getting a video out. I do have another video coming out hopefully soon-ish. It's a research styled video on La Mer, so hopefully that comes out relatively soon. It's turning out really nice. Like it's a really different type of content that I haven't made before that I like watching myself, so I really wanted to make that type of a video about a brand that I'm really passionate about at the moment, which is La Mer. So hopefully that is up relatively soon. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please, 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 please like and subscribe and join the Discord down below in the description. It's going to be super fun. I think it's going to be such a great time. It's already been super fun talking to the people that's in the Discord already. Like I said, we've already had a couple of calls. We have great conversations on all the channels. So really excited to see how many people join and what kind of content we can create with that Discord going forward this year. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Peace out.